Building a property portfolio isn't just about buying houses. Let me show you how to scout aggressively and get the unfair advantage. Property is the best wealth building tool when done correctly. Most investors hit a ceiling mainly because they don't have clear long-term plans. They all think about the short term. They don't think ahead, they don't plan, they don't strategize. So they run out of money or can't even get more finance in place. And this is because they bought the wrong properties to begin with, making future borrowing even harder. The solution to this is buy with a portfolio building strategy, not just random deals. And this strategy, the formula to success, is what we call a solid portfolio growth system. And solid, S-O-L-I-D. S is for strategy. Strategy first. You need to decide what we're actually focusing on. And this is going to be a difference between the cash you have available, the time you have available, and the skill set. You need to think with the end in mind. But ultimately, if I've got a load of money, and I've got time to invest, but I've got zero skill set, well, it's very likely that I am going to be doing boring vanilla buy-to-let properties. And by the way, nothing wrong with that. I have over 150 of them myself. I enjoy boring vanilla buy-to-let properties. So you need to think about what strategy is. Likewise, if you've got a load of time, and you've invested in your education so you know what you're doing, but you've got no money, then deal packaging is going to be great for you. And it's kind of like a matrix between skill, time available, and finance available. And dependent on your makeup of those three things, it's really going to dictate what strategy is going to work for you. And the icing on the cake, the cherry on the icing on the cake is, what lifestyle do you want? There are strategies, for example, deal packaging, where you can scale up a six-figure business with 10 hours a week. And there's other strategies that actually it's going to be a lot more capital and time intensive, such as commercial conversion. So you need to have the end in mind and understand strategy comes first. Foundations before the penthouse. O is for overpopulation. Whenever I'm investing in an area, I need it to be a location where there's more demand than supply. And what this looks like is a stronger rental area. When there's overpopulation, the focus is on demand, employment, transport, regeneration. I don't mean there's 500 people living in an area where there's only 10 properties. What I mean is it's overpopulated. The demand for what's available is higher than the supply available. And this is going to lead to strong rentals and, of course, capital growth. L is for leverage. Leverage in finance, not financial advice here. Leverage correctly. And what I mean by this is you want to utilize other people's money. Well, who has money available for property that is the safest, most secure, highest leverage, and cheapest? Mortgages. Mortgages are the cheapest available finance. I spoke to somebody the other day, sorry, I'm going ranty. I spoke to somebody the other day, it was like, no, surely it's better to own a £200,000 property in cash. So why wouldn't you own 4 properties? Well, yeah, but then you've got debt, so your net worth is like, you don't get it. When you leverage, it's called a fulcrum point. When you leverage, everything becomes harder or easier. And if you think about a door, if you think about it swinging this way, if you push here next to the hinges where there's zero leverage, and I'm pushing against you here, who's going to win? You can be a lot stronger than me, but because I've got leverage, I will win. And it's the same in business. Now, you need to be careful of not over-leveraging here, but utilizing debt. And by the way, I know most people wouldn't say this, debt is your friend if you know how to use it correctly. There's a big difference between good and bad debt. It will allow you to scout aggressively. If you think logically, for those that don't know me, I started 10 years ago with minus 33,000. And now 10 years later, did 10.8 million last year in our group of businesses. Okay, that's not just from owning buy-to-lets, but I own over 150 buy-to-let properties. Do you think for a second I own 150 boring vanilla buy-to-let properties with no mortgages on them? No, I'm in tens of millions of debt. By the time I die, I would love to be $1 billion in debt. Genuinely would love, but certainly over 100 million because by the time I'm 40, guarantee it. Work with brokers that understand portfolio lending, think of the end in mind, and leverage correctly. seek financial advice. I is for inheritance. Now, why do I think of inheritance when I'm thinking about my investments? Well, because I'm thinking about my kids and their kids and their kids. Who am I handing it to? And it really gets me to understand what property is really about. It's not a short-term focus, it's a long-term plan. And you want to avoid random purchases that come up here. It's like, no, I've got a plan, I'm sticking to it. And the longer term you approach property, the more successful you will be. Every single property that I've ever focused on from a short-term point of view has either been a terrible investment in my portfolio, and I still have them because I can't get rid of them without losing money, or I managed to get rid of them quickly to an open market buyer at a discounted rate, by the way, because I also bought it at a discounted rate. The problem is, everyone wants it at a discounted rate. Whereas the more and more that I focus on long-term products, the long-term plan, a long-term investment strategy, it really helped me understand value over price. And when I started doing that is when I started adding millions to my net wealth. So think of inheritance, think of long-term, think of better strategic planning. And finally, D, delegate. Once I've got my solid investment, I need to delegate it to somebody else. So this is your network. Your network is your net worth. You need your power team, your brokers, your solicitors, your renovation team, your management team to help you scale faster. You need to be in the rooms with the right people. Napoleon Hill said this, that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You need to get that power team, your confidants, your mentors, your coaches, your community, everyone that's going to help you be a massive success. The reality is, how do you hack the system? How do you fast track the system? By learning and being around people that are 5 to 10 years ahead of you. The best investors make money on every single deal, even without buying it. So even myself, I will end up buying every 1 in 5 properties, but I package on the other 4. So I get paid for all 5 properties, but I've only bought 1. So look, not every deal is gonna be right for you, but it is right for somebody. Let me just be clear. I'm not saying take the cream of the crop and get rid of the shit. That's not what I'm saying. You can have a great deal, but you run out of money. It could be a great deal, but it's not your criteria. It could be a great deal, but it's slightly out of your area or your strategy, of course. Top investors utilize, buy, package and sell, and I package 4, use the money for the 5th. How it works, you find a deal, but you don't want it, you give it to another investor. You pass it on, you make your fee, and it keeps the cash flowing in whilst you're building your own portfolio. And a great example of this is how I've scaled mine. So the first 20 properties, I joint ventured with somebody on a 1 for you, 1 for me basis. And so I'd end up finding great deals. I didn't want to give any away. And so I joint ventured, and I realized that 1 for them, they funded it and got their money, and then they funded 1 for me. But then I started thinking after the first 20, I'd still end up owing them some money at the end. So I wanted to scale more aggressively. And so I packaged 4, had the money to buy my 5th, and I'd keep on going again and again and again. So I'd find my deal. I'd find 5 deals, usually nowadays in a 5-day period, because I've got a team around it. So I find my 5 deals, I put all 5 out to investors, and this way it makes it fair, and they pick their favorite 4. Then I buy the 5th, and I go like that, and that's what I do. So I find the deal, pass it to an investor, get paid, buy a buy to let. And so I've got my active income facilitating my passive income and growing my net wealth. And I'm just going to do a little plug here, because for those that have been following, I hope this channel is giving you a load of value to help you scale in your business. But if you could actually be a part of a movement, be a part of a community where I could guarantee you that success that I'm talking about, would you be interested? And when I say guarantee, by the way, I am so confident that you will get results. And if you don't get results, you don't pay. By the way, here's how it works. It's an upfront investment for a 12-week implementation program where we can take you from beginner to winner over that period. And if you don't get a deal after you've followed all of the training and the actions, then have your money back. Otherwise, you can keep it for free. All right, that's how confident I am. But if you want to have a chat about it, this isn't for people looking for freebies or anything like that. I don't want that in people's mindsets. I want people ready to take the action and go all in. So if you want to book a free one-to-one strategy session to find out if you're even right for us and vice versa, I've put a link in the comments. I'll pin it to the top. Click on there, fill in your details, and you can book in your absolutely free one-to-one strategy session. And if this link's not working, just put education in the comments and my team will send you a link. And you can book it in, no hard pitch, it's not our style. We'll do a consultative approach. And if we're right for each other, amazing. And if not, you've just got some free guidance. So click the link, fill in your details, and we'll get there. I hope this has been valuable. Make sure you're following my solid formula to success to aggressively scale your portfolio in 2025 and beyond. If you got value from this, make sure to hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, you know what to do.